Welcome back to the EQ7 Summer Drawing Series. Last month we drew a pieced block on the Easy Draw block work table. For block number 2, we're also going to draw a pieced block, but on the patch draw block work table. Before we begin, we're going to open up our project we worked on last month. If you didn't do block number 1, that's fine. You can just go ahead and start here with Create a New Project and name your project EQ7 Summer Drawing Sew Along, and then just hit OK. For those that did work on block number 1, click the Open an Existing Project tab. You should see your project here in the Most Recently Used Projects. If you don't, you can always use this option down here to open your file that way. Don't worry about this saying no items to display here. That's perfectly fine. An image will only show up in this area if you have a quilt in your project. And since we only worked on a block last time, we don't have any quilts, so that's why it says no items to display. Go ahead and click OK. My sketchbook opened up to the block section of the sketchbook. If you don't see that, you can click on blocks and you can see those are the blocks we worked on last month. You can go ahead and click close to close the sketchbook. And if you're not on the block work table, click Work on Block button at the top. And now we're going to do block, new block, patch draw block. Now there are a few rules we need to follow when working on patch draw blocks. All the patches must be closed shapes. If they're not closed correctly, once you move to the color tab to color your patch, the lines are going to disappear. So you've got to be very careful with that. To be a finished design, the entire block must be filled with patches. Otherwise you'll have an empty hole in your block and you won't get a template printed for that piece. Also, the final rule, do not overlap patches. Any overlapping will cause problems when you go to try to sew the block, because remember, these are pieced blocks. So the patches must fit adjacent to each other as if they would when you're sewing the patches together. Now again, just make sure that your precision bar is turned on. You can see there's a check mark next to my precision bar. And you can see the precision bar up here at the top. One quick note that I want to make, if you happen to accidentally click on the work table and get this blue sticky line, then you can't get rid of it. I know I do that occasionally. The trick to get rid of that line, if you're not intentionally drawing that line, just simply hit the escape key on your keyboard and the line will go away. Another way to get rid of that sticky line, if you do get stuck with that, is just double click on the work table and it will go away. To set up our block, we're going to make, again, 12-inch blocks. Mine already says 12 inches, but I'm going to type it in just so you can see. So 12 inches, and I'll hit the tab key on my keyboard and it'll move me to the next entry box here. Hit 12 again. For the grid selection, I'm actually going to choose octagon. You can see my grid change down here. And for dimensions, I'm going to make both of those 8. If your graph paper cells are turned on, go ahead and turn those off. We don't need any of those. Also, make sure the autofill button is turned on your precision bar. That'll make it easier to see that the patches are closed. Next, I want you to click and hold on this polydraw tool. This is going to display a flyout menu, and this is the polyline tool and the polyarc tool. If you are using a grid like arc or circle, you would want the polyarc tool. But since our grid is made up of all straight lines, we only need the polyline tool. When drawing with patch draw, it's a lot different than easy draw. You're not going to click, hold, and drag. You don't have to be holding your mouse button down when you're clicking here. All you need to do is click, release, click, release, click, release. Double click to close the patch. You must double click to close the patch. If you don't do that, it's going to continue to draw those sticky blue lines. I'm going to delete this. That was just an example for you to see how to draw. So starting at the center here, we are going to draw 3 dots up, over, and back down. So I'm going to single click to start my line. I'm not pressing down any buttons at this time. It's just kind of connected to my cursor. I'm going to go up 3 dots and click again, over, click again, and back down to the beginning. And since I'm at the beginning, I just need to double click, and now I have my patch. I'm going to do this again the opposite direction. So I'm going to start here, click here. Again, I have my sticky blue line, go up 3, back down, click, and back to the beginning, and double click. Do this 2 more times. So click, 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 double click, 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 double click. Now we're going to make a larger patch by clicking here, 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 and double click. And to finish off this wedge, we're going to do the corner. Click, 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 double click. Believe it or not, all of the actual drawing is done. We're just going to copy these shapes and move them around on our grid. So next I want you to do Edit, select all, or use your keyboard controls and do Control A. And on the precision bar, you can use this clone tool. That's going to create another set of patches for us so that we can rotate and move them into the rest of the block. Now you're going to click the flip left and right tool on the precision bar and position your cursor over the center crosshairs. Click, hold, and drag that set of patches and release it just to the right of your first set of patches. Now we're going to do Edit, Select All again, or Control A, Clone, and on the precision bar we also have this Rotate Selected Segments button. This is a key tool for using these grids because this rotation button knows what grid you're working on and will rotate based on how the grid is set up. For this grid, it's actually going to just rotate it 45 degrees at a time. I clicked it twice, and now I'm going to move these patches to the right of my original patches. Again, select all, clone. Now click the rotate button 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Click, hold, and drag the center and release, and we have our block. As simple as that. Click Add to Sketchbook. And now it's time to color our block. Using the paintbrush tool. You can color it however you want. If you don't like what you do, just go back and change it. I'm going to get the spray can tool for this one because I know I want all of the patches that are left to be the same color. So the spray can tool will do that for me. I'm going to click Add to Sketchbook again. Now let's view our sketchbook. And there's our block right here. To name our block, we're going to click Note Card and type EQ7 Summer Drawing Block 2. And again, you can put any notes you'd like to put in here just to remember what you did for this block. It's a 12-inch block. Drawn on the piece Patch Draw work table. And click the X in the top right corner. You can see the name displays down here. And go ahead and close the sketchbook. Now let's print our patterns. We're going to work on foundation pattern actually, so choose foundation pattern. The print dialog box appears with the sections tab selected. The blue lines are indicating where the sections are. The sectioning for this block looks fine. If you wanted to change it though, you could always click the Start Over button down here and section it however you'd like. Click the Numbering tab. You can see how EQ has numbered each of the sections. Now click the Options tab. Put check marks next to whichever options you like in the Options section at the right. Leave this option unchecked if you'd like to move foundation sections in the print preview. Remember that in EQ7 you are working in finished sizes. EQ7 will add the seam allowance for you when it prints the patterns. For this sew along, we've been drawing blocks at 12 inches, so that's the size that I am going to put in the block size section. 1/4 inch seam allowance is fine, and I'm going to press preview. As you can see, some of the foundation sections are overlapping some of the pages, so to avoid that, we can just move these sections to make it a little bit easier when we print. So I clicked the Move button at the top, and I am going to just click, hold, and drag each one of these patches into a new location on each page. That'll make it a little bit easier when these print out. So you can go ahead and click Print if you're ready to print, or I'm actually going to click Close and click Close again. And once you have printed your patterns, or if you want to come back to them, you can, but just remember to click Save. And you are all finished with block number 2 of the summer drawing series. To learn more about the pieced patch draw grids, click Help, Contents, Drawing Blocks, Pieced Blocks using Patch Draw, because that's what we worked on today, and About the Patch Draw Pieced Grids.